everyone, it's Bradley and Jackie from A Purposeful Pop Life. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. I got Bradley to watch a movie that I liked since I was, gosh, it came out in like 1996.
96.
So how old was I? I'm like a decade younger than you, so.
Yeah. I was in grad school. I just started grad school when this came out, so I didn't watch it back then.
Okay, I was just entering high school.
Yeah, but the movie's called
The Mirror Has Two
The
Faces.
Mirror Has Two Faces.
It stars
Jeff Bridges.
Bridges, Barbara
Streisand.
And they're good together.
Yeah.
They have this little duet going on in the movie, and it's enticing, and I have loved it ever since I was a little girl. I saw it in the theaters with my mom,
Yeah.
and I remember just sitting there like, Mom, all women should see this movie.
Yeah, it's funny you said it because when I started watching it, I'm like, this is such a Jackie movie. It was like super. It's a romance movie. It's really well done. And by the way, we decided to watch these throwback movies because all the new movies seem to be cliche and not so great. So this was a really fun throwback, and actually, I really liked it. The ending was fantastic. You know, it's one of these movies like John Hughes movies where the whole thing is strung together really nice, and even the very end goes back to almost your first thing. But oh, let's give it away with the song. So.
The song is, you've probably heard on the radio, because Barbara Streisand, it was in What Hit. She sang with Bryan Adams. I'm sure everyone knows who he is. It's called I Finally Found Someone, and it's these two kind of people who are, they have their little idiosyncrasies, they're kind of odd, they're different, and they just cannot find their match. But, you know, as my grandma used to always say, every pot has a lid. And
That's a good one. I've heard that before.
She used to say that to me all the time. I'm like, I don't think I'm ever gonna get married. I don't think I'm ever. She's like, Jackie, every pot has a lid, and sure enough, I found Brett, and he's my lid.
Exactly. But you know, okay, the part I loved the most about the movie was early on. They're both teachers at Yale, I think, right?
It's actually Columbia.
Columbia. Okay.
Yeah.
So he does math. You can imagine his personality, and then she is a literature teacher. But she goes on this discussion to begin it with her class and talks about the nature of love and romance, and everything she said, I want to take notes because it was like so spot on correct. So I made McCallum, my son, watch it this morning after breakfast. I did.
Just that part of
Just
the whole
that,
movie?
no, just that scene.
Okay, because I don't know the whole movie.
Well, so he just got back from camp, right? And so, you know, there was like who asked out who at camp and who likes who at camp. I'm like, oh, this is
That's
level
right.
set. What does?
His son is in middle school, so
Yeah.
he's getting on to that stage where he likes
Yeah.
girls.
So it's like camp romance, like a real relationship, and she talks about relationships that are based on the soul and some that are based in sort of the moment that are romantic, and neither one necessarily are bad, but they're just very different. And I think it's very wise what she says. So I made him watch it this morning.
It is. It's very sage. She's just a very wise woman, and she and Jeff Bridges are falling in love, but they don't know that they are, because at the beginning they set this precedent that we're not going to fall in love, we're only going to be friends, and Jeff Bridges actually chose Barbara because he was not physically attracted to her,
Correct.
which is interesting. He didn't want to be with any women anymore that he was physically attracted to because it made him kind of stupid crazy.
He was like an infatuation guy, it seems like. He would get
Yeah.
all caught up in that moment, even the opening scene where he can't think straight because the lady shows up to his speech and he can't even think straight.
What was the line by his best friend? You're the only guy I know who can't chew gum and have, you know what.
Whatever, yeah.
Yeah,
Pretty
I
much.
can't say that right now. We're in a public place. But you know what I'm referring to. You know what I'm referencing.
Right.
So anyway, I loved it. And then I actually watched one of Bradley's favorite movies, which
Big
is
Fish.
Big Fish.
Yes.
So I liked the romantic part, and I liked the connection between the father and son. It was very emotional and heartfelt. But the fairy tale, which was the meat of the movie, I would start reading Twins daily. Because I love Minnesota.
You do that to my movie.
I know. So Bradley, why don't you just give a little?
So basically, the father is the Big Fish. He's a storyteller, and he teaches his kids life through telling big stories, not necessarily concrete things. And he's terminally ill, and so this is kind of this quest where the son is trying to really understand who his dad is, and so he's asking more about the stories. He's asking his mom about the stories, are they really true? And it keeps going out into these sort of vignettes where they bring these stories to life. And at the very end, when he has his funeral, all these characters from these stories show up. And so you're kind of left wondering, were these stories true?
Yeah,
are they sort of true?
And Danny DeVito, it's a great cast.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think the purpose of both these movies, I think we can both say, is that they're both about people who just want to be known for who they are.
Exactly.
They want to be accepted for who they are, whether that's someone who loves to tell big stories or someone who, you know, just wants to sit in their room all night and read
Or like-
literature and.
Or like Bette Midler or Barb, excuse me.
Barbara.
The way she
Barbara.
eats her food, cuts it up into little
Right.
pieces. It's just funny.
I mean, she just, you want someone to know you, and you want someone to love you for
For
all
who
of
you
those
are.
little things that make you you, that
Yep.
make you whole. So that, I would say, is the purpose of these movies
Yes.
this week.
So Big Fish is a really fun movie to watch. It's got Ewan
It was
McGregor,
good.
Danny DeVito.
Yeah,
It's got a
not
nice
one
cast.
of my favorite, but it was good.
And then the Two Faces in the Mirror.
The Mirror has two
Mirror has
faces.
two
He
faces.
can't get the title right.
I
He
won't.
tries and he
I try.
won't. He won't.
But
He
that's a
won't.
really good movie,
Yeah.
and they're well written from start to finish. And I like them both. And if you need something to watch this weekend, check those out.
So you think a lot of men would like The Mirror has two faces?
Actually, I do. It's goofy, but I think if you are young, if you're old, I think it's a really good kind of reset about relationships and how to think about them. I think if you have parents that are like my mom's, in her 80s, it's nice to watch Big Fish and get a sense of how to think about your parents and how to maybe understand them differently. And
So two great movies that can span, they're multi-generational, like you can watch them with your kids, with your husband, with your grandma, whomever. So
Yep.
do that this weekend if you have time.
and if you're not sure, you can always watch Top Gun. We love that. It's always a winner.
Or Days
So.
of Thunder.
Ooh, Days of Thunder, yes.
All right,
Have a good
bye.
weekend. We'll see you.